Casio G-Shock is calling their new watch the third generation Rangeman. The first generation of the Rangeman being the 2013 release of the GW9400. The second generation being the 2018 release of the GPR B1000. And this new watch, which is the GPR H1000, coming out this year, this month, this week in fact, they're calling that the third generation Rangeman. But a lot of G-Shock chads are saying that it is not a Rangeman. And that, when you look at my last few videos that I've made about this new watch, a common theme is that it's not a Rangeman. This new watch, this yellow, banana-colored yellow watch, does not fill the shoes of the previous Rangeman, and it shouldn't be called a Rangeman. So let's look at some of the comments I've been getting. Just a smattering of comments that I've gotten on my previous videos about this Rangeman, the conjectures about what we should expect, and you will notice that theme too. The first comment is from Watch David. He already has both of the new third generation Rangemans in the banana yellow and the black, and he was doing wrist rolls of them from Lisbon, and it looks sharp. I gotta tell you something. That yellow looks really nice. I cannot deny that. It looks really cool. And yeah, Watch David is in Lisbon. There's the famous castle there. And how does he do it? To quote the Joker, where does he get these wonderful toys? You and I, we're waiting in line for the new Rangeman. Watch David already has it. Unreal. He must know some people. Maverick Watch Reviews got a big kick out of me saying that the yellow Rangeman would be great camouflage in a banana forest. And I, for one, am looking forward to Maverick's review of this watch. I'm sure that sometime soon, one Sunday, we'll tune in and he'll be unboxing it and giving it one of his reviews. I know that he did the review of the DWH 5600. I did not see if he reviewed the GBDH 2000. He may have. I didn't see it. But, yeah, check in one day, and I should also add that it's good camouflage in a ripened banana forest. If they're unripened, still green, big problem. Time Bombardier says he thinks he prefers the older version, and I think that he means the GW9400, the first gen Rangeman. And yeah, I can't blame anybody for liking the older one better, because that is like one of the best watches ever created. Definitely of among digital tough watches. Like, you cannot beat the original Rangeman. It still is selling. It's still for sale. I don't, and even with this new third generation Rangeman coming out, I really doubt that they're going to discontinue the old Rangeman. Philip Lahell. Oh, by the way, the Time Bombardier, I seem to remember him getting a GBD H2000 in that Laffy Taffy yellow color. So I don't think he's above wearing a wacky color. Philip Lahell says, okay, the design is not bad. Maybe they will add another color options in the future. But this is not a tactical or survival watch. Mud resistance is not a bad thing, but they're mixing everything up. You don't know if you have a Mudman or a Rangeman on your wrist. But I have already purchased the new Mudman, and I'm happy. I think in the future, all Casio G-Shock watches will be the same. And when your watch is no longer supported, will appear on display. Okay, it is enough for today. Yeah, he's looking down the road like a lot of us are, worried that, Casio is going to change G-Shocks into, subscription-based models or planned obsolescence, and we're going to have to plug it into the Bluetooth app just to use the watch, and that's not what we want out of our G-Shocks. And that's why I'm happy that I got the Mudman, the GW9500 for myself. It doesn't have any of that Bluetooth nonsense. And Philip Lahell, he bought it too. And I'm glad to hear that he's happy with the Mudman. Like I said, it may be one of the last watches that doesn't have all that Bluetooth nonsense. UWebZ said that in my last video, the animal at the 2 minute and 7 second mark is an Aussie dingo. Okay, that's him. All right. I thought that was a weird-looking coyote. But he's not weird. He's just Australian. EK1H says, it's a hiking watch. It doesn't need to be camouflage. Which left me scratching my head. I'm like, then why is it called the Rangeman? And he says, so men can hike in the mountains with it, as in mountain range. That's why it has a compass, an altimeter, but is not good for diving. All right. I think that this is a big problem of, the premise of my last video, where I'm kind of ripping on the yellow color, is that the Rangeman, the name Rangeman. When I think Rangeman, I am thinking gun range. And all these features with the compass, altimeter, barometer, I'm thinking of a sniper like using those measurements to take a shot. How to adjust his shot for all of those parameters. All right. And so when I hear about Rangeman being a survival watch, I think in camouflage. But other people, maybe Casio too, when they say Rangeman, they're talking about mountain range. And when they're talking about survival, they're talking about, surviving an avalanche so that, you're visible. And that's probably where the confusion comes from. RB2112 says that it's a big pity this watch isn't a Rangeman. Casio should have called it Sportsman. I will buy a real outdoor watch, a Garmin Instinct 2X Solar. All right, guys, RB2112 is a highly esteemed member of the GShocks community. Look at his profile pic. That is the first generation Rangeman. Okay, and he's not at all interested in this third gen Rangeman. And to him, it's not a Rangeman. And he's jumping ship. He's ready to buy the Garmin Instinct 2X Solar. I can't blame him. If you are up in the air about the Instinct 2X Solar or a Casio GShocks, I'm not going to stop you from going to the Garmin. Everything I hear about him is positive, and a lot of GShocks guys are going over there. I am interested in GShocks. I review them, and I like them. I'm hoping that they step up their game, but I mean, business is business, right? Black Forest Ghost 1 says $500? Seriously? Sorry, but I have a brain that still works. I bought the Garmin Enduro 2 on Black Friday for €759. Light years ahead of this junk and just awesome. I will keep my old Casios and GShocks, but since my incredibly good experience with my Garmin watch, I doubt it very seriously that I will ever buy a GShocks again. It would feel like going back to the Stone Age. Survival, EDC, or just hiking, that's Garmin's kingdom now. Goodbye, greedy Japanese brand. Just for the sake of context, I collected Casio since about 40 years. Don't let them fool you by their new stupid business strategy, which doesn't care about the customer's needs at all. All right, listen, Black Forest Ghost is like a bona fide operator. He knows what he's talking about, okay? And again, not interested in the third generation Rangeman. And, and the cost, I mean, $500 is what the retail price is from Casio of how you can buy this third generation Rangeman. And he's saying that he has a brain. I don't have a brain. A lot of people are, quick to point out how idiotic I am. I pre-ordered this new Rangeman. I spent $500. Okay. Yeah, I already have the GBDH 2000. I'm going to see if one of my sons is interested in it. My sons are athletes. They can give a better review of the athletic functions of the GBH 2000 and the DWH 5600 than I can. But yeah, I guess I am one of those no-brained idiots. I did buy the $500 Rangeman. It's a lot of money, I admit it, and Garmin has more to offer at that price point. On paper, I've never tried a Garmin, But I will say that $500 isn't that far out of line for a lot of these G-Shocks, because you guys have noticed that Casio's jacking up the prices on a lot of G-Shocks. Like the metal squares is like $500-$600. You know, so when you think about it that way, I don't think that $500 is way out of line. The GBH 2000 cost about $400 retail when it came out. And, you know, most watches, when they add the mud resist, they add about $100 at least to the cost. So it's expensive, I know, and it doesn't compare well to Garmin's at the same price, I know. Goffas and Gumpies says this new release ain't a Rangeman. All they had to do was slim down the GPR B1000 and not chick it up with smartwatch junk. Shithouse release, not buying. All right, so yeah, he's another GPR B1000 G-Shock Chad who does not consider this to be a Rangeman. It's totally different than, it's like they didn't improve the GPR B1000. Like a lot of G-Shock Chads who own GPR B1000s love the GPR B1000. They were hoping, you know, it's very big. They were hoping that the next generation would be smaller, but it's not. It's just totally different. And a lot of rage among the G-Shock Chads who own the GPR B1000. Wedgie Burger 5000 says, regarding the color, this is a survival watch, not a tactical. Most survival equipment is highly visible for this reason. Tents, jackets, backpacks, helmets, etc. Yeah, I realized that in the last video I was making a point that I realized that a lot of camping equipment is brightly colored, you know, for high visibility. It's just, when I think of survival, I think of camouflage, but again, for hiking and camping, survival, you may need visibility. Like if you were being swarmed by sharks in the water, you could use a reflection to summon help. Termit 520 says, personally, I don't want any of these 200%. That's not a survival watch. I mean, heart rate monitor, gym workout, pool swimming, and the other fancy poops in something that should be a digital field watch. That's not a field watch. It shouldn't be a Rangeman. That should be a fitness man. Also, Jim, don't forget, Casio isn't stupid and definitely doesn't do it since yesterday. So if there's no demand, Casio wouldn't make that thing. Very simple. If there's no demand, there's no profit. To me personally, this thing is like snow from 10 years ago. Goodbye. It's melted down a long time ago. It's forgotten. All right. This Termit is 200% against this new Rangeman, but he's not 300% against it. Maybe there's a little wiggle room there. We can convince him. Termit is a GPR B1000 owner. He's one of those G-Shock Chads who owns the GPR B1000. And, you know, in another video saying it's like the best watch ever. And he gets very poetic here. He says that this Casio, it's like snow from 10 years ago. You know, snow melts, right? And it's forgotten. Never mind snow from like 10 years ago melting. It's like that quote, like, you know, tears in the rain, but it's snow melting. And really interesting that, you know, a lot of the conversation was about a yellow Rangeman. So that one's like yellow snow that's melted. Tazzy Balboa says, never had a non-black G-Shock. Would the yellow one get stained easily? I would love to find out. I would subject that thing to so much toxic sludge. It would give me great pleasure to permanently stain that yellow watch. $500 a little too much to spend to, you know, try and stain it. And being a G-Shock, my luck is that it wouldn't get stained and I would be stuck with it. I ordered the black one, but that is a really good question. Tundak 3630. $500 for this is way too much. It doesn't even look premium for what they're asking. The newer Mudman 9500 looks more premium than this. Looks way too plasticky too. I'll stick to my GPR B1000 Rangeman, one of the best G-Shocks ever made, in my opinion. All right, another GPR B1000 owner eschewing this new Rangeman. Thomas K. got the new GBDH 2000. Its software is trash. However, the watch itself and what it does correctly, it does well. I'd buy it again. Also own a couple of GW9400s, green and black. Yeah, okay, so I agree. GBDH 2000, the software is trash. Like the timer only goes up to an hour. What a joke. A timer that goes to an hour. Right now I'm wearing the Mudman, and I get the stopwatch going. I'm going to try to get the stopwatch up to 1,000 hours. It's at 695 hours now. Okay? And this brand new watch, the GBDH 2000, which supposedly has advanced software, the stopwatch doesn't go that high. The timer doesn't go past 60 minutes. The software is trash, and they're taking that same software, that same module, and they're putting it in this new Rangeman. That's a problem. Matt Morse, looking forward to your new Rangeman in black review. By the specs, I don't think the intention of the new Rangeman is a survival or navigation as much as a fitness watch, but looking forward to your in-the-metal opinion on that. I am your guinea pig, gentlemen. I am the guinea pig. I will see, is it good for survival? Can you use it without Bluetooth? Can you take it out of the box, strap it on your wrist, and go hiking? How connected is it? How good is it for going to the gym? How mud resistant is it really? And by the way, the mud in my world is all oil based. John RB says, something you brought up in your GBDH 2000 review got me thinking. You mentioned that the reason you use the Mudman at work and not the GBD was in part due to not wanting to get muck on the optical sensors. It made me think that whilst the Rangeman might be upgraded compared to the GBD in respect of the buttons, what consideration has been made to the optical sensors on the back? Whenever I've done yard work whilst wearing the Square, I tend to accumulate dirt, sweat, and yes, sometimes mud under the watch on the wrist. I wanted to know your thoughts on this potential weak spot and whether or not this may impact your ability to use it in your daily profession. Very good point. Yes, I was wearing the GBDH 2000 to work for a while, but I was really apprehensive about stuff getting behind the buttons. The buttons are like a lot different than other G-Shock buttons. They're much easier to press. They're bigger, and they seem to have more of a gap behind them. And I was worried about that, and also getting abrasive. Like a lot of the oil and stuff that I get splashed with has, abrasive like metal shavings and stuff in it. And yeah, it gets under your wrist. And will it scratch the optical sensor? Will it block it? Those are questions that, I didn't specifically tough test the GBDH 2000. Honestly, it's a little too big to wear it working on equipment because it stands like 3/4 of an inch off your wrist. But that's a good question, John RB. And Lord willing, I will be testing the new Rangeman in the oil field. Nairalas Londras says there are 3 types of hikers / adventurers / hunters. Those who don't care about anything, only comfort. Those who want to be hidden, who wear camouflage or dark colored gear, or 3 who wants to be seen, wears high visibility colored gear. All right, so if you get the yellow Rangeman, you are in group 3, and if you get the black colored Rangeman, you are in group 1 or 2, right? Mr. Stir. I'll wait for some reviews before I pull the trigger on this, but as he said, it's not a survival watch. I don't know what the heck it is. We will find out. I am your guinea pig. Hedacombe Recordings. The bioplastic makes this watch look like a cheap knockoff toy. It's very strange shape design. I'd have preferred the old design with an MIP display. No, sir, I don't like it. Sounds like Mr. Horse. Obscure reference. How many of you picked that one up? But yeah, like a cheap knockoff toy, like Log. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, a lot of G-Shocks, they look clunky, but like a lot of the design choices are practical. Like I was just watching the Mad Watch Collector, and he called the Mudman. He said it had futuristic barnacles, and I was trying to tell him in the comments that what you call a futuristic barnacle protects the watch's face and allows drainage from the screen. So we look at the watch, this new third generation Rangeman. It looked kind of clunky, but there might be practical reasons behind it, and we'll test it out and we'll see. Andrew Covell says there's two different types of survivalist aesthetics. 1, camo based on hiding from civilization, and 2, camo based on hiding in civilization. The yellow watch fits the second aesthetic very well and honestly will probably be more practical in the day and age in which we live. That is correct, Mr. Covell. We live in clown world. And to not stand out, we need to dress like clowns. Stardust Legacy Fighter. Can't touch the G-Shocks from 10 years ago, to be honest. These new releases are mostly cash grabs for clueless fanboys. The new Mudmaster is somewhat decent, but I much prefer the OG one from 2015. Well, thanks for going easy on the Mudmaster. That's right now, that's pretty much my favorite watch. X Purple. I'm going to stick with my GPR B1000 for now. Spoken like a true G-Shock Chad. Wayward Pondering. If the heart rate monitor alerts you to unhealthy heartbeats and heart dangers, that would be useful. A dream survival watch with sensors would alert you to hypothermia, heat exhaustion / stroke, and dehydration. The Rangeman should be a tool watch that can help save your life. That's a good point. And I don't know if that will have any of those actual features, but we can wear this watch, hiking in the mountains, and look down on our wrist to see our heart rate. So if like we're resting and our heart rate's still elevated, that would be a warning sign for some other problems. Okay. A lot of you guys remember me and the boys hiked up Guadalupe Mountain. That was brutal. I thought I was going to die. Okay. It was like that Toby Keith song, I Ain't Like I Once Was. That was playing in my head as I stumbled my way up the mountain, almost dying. My first break, to eat some trail mix, I was like, man, this stuff's dry. It's like impossible to eat. What's going on? Well, my body stopped producing saliva. All right. Some of you serious outdoors men are laughing at me, but yeah, that happened. I mean, like a heart rate monitor, it can be useful, to like just splash of cold water in your face. Hey, there might be a problem. And that's a really good point from Wayward Pondering. Scott K. Very similar to the GBDH 2000. What am I missing? Well, the new Rangeman is very similar to the GBDH 2000. It has the addition of mud-resistant buttons and one additional exercise in the exercise functions called trekking. BJ Cundiff says, I personally think that with what they did with the new Mudman, they didn't leave themselves any room to change the Rangeman, because essentially the new Mudman is a Rangeman with the features it has. And in my opinion, they should have used the module from the discontinued Rangeman and brought it back with the new case design they seem to be going with. I think it would have done really well that way, because I don't think that you are alone in looking for a discontinued Rangeman. I would have loved to have had that one, and only would have if you could get them new. Yeah, the used market for the GPR B1000 is very tight. You're spending a lot of money sometimes for, a watch that's really beaten up. And I believe that BJ Cundiff is a previous Sun 2 Core owner and has switched to the Mudman GW9500. And it doesn't sound like he's really enthusiastic about this third generation Rangeman. Andy Blue. I love my GBDH 1000, and I would not replace that for any Samsung or other smartwatch. I had a lot of these other smartwatches like Samsung that does not last more than 4 years. They all go broke after how many years? I can see more people belittle the GBDH 1000. As you can see, the H1000 is also tough as heck. It has a metal front and back plate. In the years of my use, what really impressed me is the solar capability. I would not compare that to Garmin Instinct Solar 2 regarding solar charging, since the H1000 can be fully charged just by solar panels. Even if the buttons are not metal, it's still durable since resin has high millipascals or megapascals, whatever that is, for compression and very good in tensile strength. I only wish could have been improved is the buttons. Should have been a dust or mud proof, and the band should have been a harder material. Same for the GWN 1000. The only real weakness of the H1000 is the buttons do get jammed by dirt, and straps are not that durable because rubber can easily scratch. But in my opinion, I can use my H1000 as a survival watch because it's also durable, and the solar charging system is very impressive. It has a just cannot die battery on the wild. I do a lot of FEA tests. Steel is more durable than a brittle ceramic plate, so every watch has its strengths and weaknesses. All right, a lot of information there, and some of you will be able to follow my response. It's really confusing, but the H1000, what Andy Blue was saying, is that it can be self-sustained by the sun, and I believe that the GPR B1000 could do the same. In my experience with a GBD H2000, that is not the case. You have to plug it in. Like, I think that in the GBD H2000, the sun can only charge the watch, the clock, the time. It can't even charge the ABC sensors. And this is my experience, okay? So it seems like the battery performance is better on the H1000 than the H2000, okay? Now, Garmin made the Instinct Solar 2X, and from what I hear, its battery life surpasses that of the GBD H2000. And since this new Rangeman is based off the GBD H2000, it's highly likely that the Garmin Instinct 2X Solar will still surpass this new third generation Rangeman in terms of battery life. Did you guys write that all down? I know it's confusing, but I appreciate the comment. Andy Blue, really good points. If like that H1000, if you got it and you like it, I mean, why move away? And a lot of the band being rubber and the buttons being pressable, that it's a fitness orientated watch. McLeod Clan says, I only pick Casio watches with 3 features: 200-meter water resistance, solar powered, and multi-band 6. And Web Snail checks in and says, I do not buy non-solar GShocks anymore. All right, well, then this new Rangeman does have the 200-meter water resistant. It does use some solar power, but you should know that if it's like the GBD H2000, the solar power just gives the watch a boost. It cannot sustain the watch functions completely. And multi-band 6, as far as I know, is not on this new third generation Rangeman. If you want to sync the time, you'll have to use the GPS signals when you start a workout that has GPS, or manually sync it to the GPS, or when you sync it to your phone, the Bluetooth will sync the time. Okay, no multi-band 6. Sorry to report that. I am also a multi-band 6 fan. 705 Squad says, I've collected GShocks for a while. Just purchased the Garmin Instinct 2X Tactical Coyote. Love it, and the built-in flashlight works amazing. And the new GShocks look so boxy, kind of cheap looking, too bad. Yeah, it's crazy that Garmin beat GShock at their own game by putting that flashlight on the 2X Instinct 2X. It's like a flashlight on a watch is exactly the purview of Casio G-Shock, but Garmin beat them to it. It's outrageous. I can't believe it. Oh, and Lionheart 18. Same thing. It sounds like that he's a G-Shock guy who switched over to the Garmin 2X. Forsake none, but the E is a 3. Says, tan is and always will be a limited color run for G-Shocks. All the cool timepieces that come in tan or green camo were limited. I think this will be the case for the new Ski Man, and this GBDH Man, because for sure these ain't Mudman and Rangeman. So rest assured the tan will come, as it came to the 9300, 9400, and the GWG 1000 as a limited edition color with increased price. Yeah, I looked on eBay. Like if you get like the GWG 1000 with that desert camo, like you have to pay up for it. You have to pay up a lot. And but the thing is that, you know, you go to the G-Shock website or the blogs about G-Shock, and there's tons and tons of these like crazy colored watches. I have never seen in real life anybody actually wearing those watches. My sample size may be skewed because I'm in West Texas, but I see a lot of people wearing the tactical camo colors. Even some chicks. I was at Best Buy, and there was a chick wearing an Anadigi G-Shock that was that desert camo color. Like, I see a lot of G-Shock wearers wearing black G-Shocks or the tan G-Shocks, sometimes the green G-Shocks. So they sell. And I don't get, like, I've never seen anybody wearing, you know, those crazy colors. All right? Now, obviously, my wife has a pink, rose gold, pink and white one, and my daughter has a white and gold one. But those aren't like the crazy colors, right? Will blah blah says this watch sucks. No GPS navigation. Come on. Why did they call it Rangeman? The last Rangeman was a beast. I mean the GPR B1000. This one is just another colored watch. Yeah, all right. GPR B1000 owner. Not really happy about the new Rangeman. Ernesto E. Chavier's says, this is a fitness-orientated watch, and also Casio adds colors almost every month, so keep calm and get a Garmin 4 Trex in Coyote color. Yeah, I know, I'm tempted. I'm really tempted to get the Garmin because, like, in my profession, I'm in, like, driving trucks out in the middle of nowhere, and it would be convenient to be able to, like, save points and use breadcrumbs to get back to the main road. I am tempted to buy a Garmin. I'm going to be honest with everybody. And by the way, I just want to apologize to everybody if I mispronounce your name. You know, I'm not happy with how YouTube puts on your comments, puts like your like secret screen name and doesn't use a name that you enter in that you want it to be used. It's something that YouTube has to fix. But again, sorry to Mr. Ernesto if I mispronounce your name. Pekokpu says, sorry, but this thing is not a Rangeman. It's an ugly, hormone-ridden H2000 Plus. The original H2000 is the 2023 Product Design of the Year award. This thing is doped up joke. All right, some of you may be getting deja vu all over again. We responded to this exact comment in my last video. But Pekokpu put it in this video too. I'm getting the feeling that he's just cutting and pasting this comment in every single Rangeman video on YouTube. All right. And so he dropped it on, maybe he'll drop it on this video too. I don't know. But the thing is, what hormone is this watch ridden with? Are you saying it's ridden with estrogen, like it's too chickified? Or are you saying it's riddled with like trembolone? Like it's been using too much trembolone, like steroids, and now it's like too beefy. You have to tell us what hormone, Mr. Pekokpu. Jay Simpson 4 says, this model looks like a skip for me. I'll keep my GBDH 2000. Might as well. It's pretty much the same thing, and it's to be seen whether they'll port the trekking function from the new Rangeman to the GBDH 2000, since functionally they should be able to. Fireman Fratch says, as I've said before, I'm not financially equipped to try the latest and greatest, but then again, I'm not a watch reviewer either. Sticking with old reliable GW 9400 and my outdated original Garmin Instinct Solar when needed for fitness monitoring. Enjoying your videos. Happy New Year. Yeah, thanks, Fireman Fratch. It's, yeah, just stick with the GW 9400, right? If you already have it and you want to save money, I don't think that Casio has really made a compelling argument for a lot of guys to shell out the money for the $500 third-generation Rangeman. Odin Iron Giant says, agreed, the limited yellow-black option is lazy and stupid. Look at his profile pic. It is a GPR B1000. Are the owners of GPR B1000s, are they just like trying to flex on all of us who can't buy into that platform, and we're just hoping that the GRP H1000 is good? Or are they hoping that Casio would come out with a better version of the GPR B1000? Jose Miguel 4069. The only good thing about this watch is that I will save a few $100 not buying it, and will give more love to my good old GPR B1000. Look at his profile pic. I think that's a Mudmaster. So he owns a Mudmaster and a GPR B1000, and he is just gloating. All the rest of us, paying $500 for a smartwatch. I like the old one better. I think this is Hazmat. And this is what I mean about YouTube messing up like your screen name. It says user dash YI4 blah 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 blah. I think this is Hazmat, and if it is, I believe he owns a Mudman. So, yeah, yeah, you can't beat the old one. DW Tuna says when they were developing the GBDH 2000, Casio partnered up with Polar, a fitness equipment company which has experience in building Garmin type of watches and mobile apps. I'm guessing that Casio paid out a pretty sum to Polar, and so they aggressively forced it on several lines of their products. GBDH 2000, the Smart Square, and now the Rangeman. Whoever ordered the developers / designers to put this crap on one of their most beloved line within GShock needs to get fired. People say you shouldn't compare GShocks to Garmin's, but as consumers who pay the same, if not more expensive price that Casio is asking, don't you think you have the right to demand something better? Garmin instinct felt like it was creeping up on GShock territory, but the thing is, they did it so well. Maybe Casio was like, oh crap, Garmin, nanny! And then came out swinging with what feels like a rushed, half-baked product that even longtime GShock fans like me is going, nope. Hopefully they will learn from their mistakes and give the consumers what they want by focusing on what they do best, or invest more development on their apps and functionalities, user interface, and the list goes on. Yeah, I know. I mean, I would rather see them just perfect the basics, okay? And they're getting too caught up in some of the high level stuff that they're ignoring the basics. Just start over again at the basics. But this is a very good comment, very well articulated. Yeah, and Garmin is eating GShock's lunch. Dyna Harmony, totally agree, man. They could absolutely port the tracking feature to the H2000 because as far as I can see, that is the only feature that's different between the two watches. I'll keep saying it, man. It's such a shame GShock is headed in this direction. What they should have done is a variation of the new Mudman 9500 with an MIP display. That would be pretty sweet. I agree. Everybody is saying just make a regular GShock watch with an MIP. That's like the golden ticket. A regular GShock with an MIP display. The same button presses, the same functions, the same everything, the same basics, just with an MIP display. Russell Kinkade says, you want to know why it has a heart rate monitor? Because they already have that tech on other models, so they don't have to spend as much on R&D to add another more useful function. Yeah, it's sunk cost. They spent it on, they already have it on there. Just it's a car company, taking what is it like? The Chevy Pinto and then dressing it up a little bit, and it's like, oh, it's a Cadillac CTS or whatever. I know it's a bad example, but you get the point. Triantafos Thessalonica says, well, I love Casio watches. I have only Casio watches, but they are all tough solar with multiband 6. So I like the idea that they do everything themselves and I don't have to use any apps. So like you said, basic watches. I think Casio believes the consumer goes to the smart technology when I think that they should keep doing basic watches with other improvements, like MIP display only. Yes, very good point, Mr. Thessalonica. I I am going to make an upcoming video about this. Going to try and explain it a little bit better, than I have before in my other rant videos. And this is well said. Casio's chasing a ghost of smartwatch buyers. But if you're going to go down the road of smartwatch, you might as well just get like an Apple Watch and put like a tough case on it, if you want a durable smartwatch. Ian Maw says, I totally agree. Like you, I really wanted an updated GPRB 2000. I think that this and the GW 9500, have been substandard. Well, yeah, when I first got the Mudman, there were my first impressions weren't very positive. But wearing it, I've discovered that it is very rugged. And that's what I appreciate about the watch. And the more I wear it, the more I like it. But yeah, it is disappointing because in the fact that we were hoping for a watch, a basic watch with ABC functions and an MIP display. B says that my video was long, still entertaining, had to fasten it by 1.25. All right, listen, if you guys are going to do that, I'm going to slow my speech to 0.8 so that when you adjust it to 1.25, it ends up being at 1. I'm only kidding. I'm trying to make my videos that you are able to listen to them without looking at your phone, because that's how I take in most of my YouTube videos now. When I'm at work and I'm working on something, I'll get a video going. I bought YouTube Premium so that I don't have to worry about the ads. I can make a big, long queue of videos, put the phone away, just listen to the videos, right? And so I'm going to try and make more videos. I guess they're more like podcasts in that sense, but that you're able to listen to them and not have to look at the screen. But obviously I want the screen to be, that you can look at it. So if you need to zoom up the speed to 1.25, go ahead. I understand. You could do it at 2. Make me sound like a chipmunk. You want the information, and this is about as fast as I can talk. All right. So that's great. And he thinks that, he thinks that there's something sinister behind the forces making smartphones and all this connection and the GPS downgrade. Yeah, there is. I have my tinfoil hat out. I have some conspiracy theories because there's some things that don't make sense. Like why was the GPRB 1000 so good and then they just abandoned it? I have some theories and some other things, but yeah, there could be sinister forces at work. And that's why you see this push for connectivity. It may not be, they want to appeal to the smartwatch market. That may not be the case. Casio is a publicly traded company. They may be going after some of that money from some of those influential people wanting everybody to be tracked all the time, if you know what I mean. But anyways, we'll have to kind of discuss that issue on another video. And I appreciate all you guys for watching, and I just want to plug one thing. If you don't mind listening, I just want to say Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except through him. I just had to give that plug in. I'm a Christian. I'm a believer in Jesus, so I just had to, surprise evangelism. But anyways, I did buy the I pre-ordered the GBD, or not the GBD H2000. What is it? This new 3rd generation Rangeman. So they're going to drop it on the 19th, all right? So if you're interested in the unboxing and first impressions, I guess next week, stay tuned. Lord willing, we'll be looking at it. I'm Jim Kinkade. Thanks for watching.